Hi guys, Simon Trezellian here. I thought I'd just chip in here because obviously there's the election looming, and a lot of really interesting stuff is going on. Obviously there's so many exposés, everyone has a story. People are either making up stories or finding stories from decades ago to try and bring some form of relevance to try and switch that can give the person the edge. Now I've got to say as a disclaimer that really I don't like either of the potential presidential candidates. I feel that neither have shown themselves to be qualified to be president of the United States, but hey, that's just me. But what I do want to talk to you about today is what is actually being used upon you to sway your vote, and I think that I have some relevance to bring there, given that I was 19 years in military intelligence and I saw sometimes and oversaw the overthrow of certain countries and nations. And it's a thing called misdirection. Now, misdirection is a common technique used mostly by magicians. So essentially what they're trying to do is misdirect your attention away from something that they don't want you to see. So they'll be doing something with their hand and saying, as you can see here, but in reality they're bringing a white rabbit out of their pocket or whatever that may be. There is so much misdirection that has actually been gifted to everyone in this campaign. So essentially there's a lot of really interesting and very important things actually happening in the world, centering around Syria, centering around the oil pipelines. It's all about energy, where you have conflicting nations that have a vested interest in power. And that goes to Ukraine as well, where the Russian pipeline used to fulfill most of Europe's energy needs. These are things that are actually happening. These are things that soldiers are being deployed to these areas. We could be on the verge of a third world war, and people are talking about events 10 years ago in regards to mean things said about people in Miss World contests. I mean, really, what is that about? It's trying to get your attention away. If you notice that all of these things, whether they're being called racist or sexist or whatever ist that they seem to want to put in, these are very emotive forms. They're emotive language in order to be able to exact an emotion from you, and that emotion then clouds your judgment. How many times have we been angry and then we just don't see the logic in what we're actually talking about? We see these WikiLeaks. I mean, these are real emails, and people are saying, why are we getting over the emails and why aren't we doing this? The fact is that these emails are real information which shows intent, and it shows criminal intent. And it is interesting that people seem to be saying, well, it's just an email service, you used the wrong email. I mean, this is tantamount to treason. I mean, it really is. And people are trying to offset that. Even people whose job it is to actually bring people to justice are actually involved in this. And this I find very, very troubling indeed. And the excuse for this seems to be to position it about something that actually has no relevance whatsoever, whether people said things 10 years ago or whatever. Now as I said, I'm not a massive fan of Trump, but I am a fan of truth. And I think that people need to get over whether this is a sexist form or whether we should be supporting a female president just because she's a female. I mean, these are things that are really unimportant. What is important is the security of this nation. Now, I was actually involved in a number of operations which utilize these techniques, which I see being given to you by the media. I mean, the media, as you know, is actually run by 6 companies that have interests in pretty much every type of media, whether it be print media, whether it be internet media, or whether it be the TV media. And they have an agenda, and I think everyone has probably seen that by now. It's really it's really not a secret anymore. This is the first time, I think, that people have actually been aware that the media is not there to inform you of the news, of the truth of what is actually going on. They're there to give you an opinion on things that have happened within the last 24 hours. Now, this is what we called in military intelligence psyops, or psychological operations. And psyops was a form of subversion. So you used to be able to subvert the the good knowledge or the emotions of a nation by giving them either false or misleading information, or showing them stuff that actually had no relevance of them but would induce an emotion. And this is what PSYOPs is all about. It's actually now a very big part of the American military. The British military have used it for a lot of years. We used to call it hearts and minds, so that we would have a steady release of information that was designed specifically to engage a person's emotions, so that they would then take action based upon those emotions or based upon those beliefs. You're seeing that now with the polls. You're seeing these massive, quite extraordinary arenas where Donald Trump is talking to 50,000 people, and then you see Hillary Clinton speaking to 30, but the polls say otherwise. So what is actually going on there? Now, this could actually work both ways. If it showed that the polls were so in Hillary Clinton's favor that people wouldn't bother going out to vote, well, that would work in Trump's favor. If it seems that it's a totally done deal, then the Trump supporters will be misinformed and feel disillusioned and wouldn't even bother to vote, because who wants to vote for a losing side? So this is how subversion is done. It's been done all the way through, from dropping leaflets over enemy territory to lying about losses on the battlefield. These are techniques that are tried and trusted, and what they do is actually get you thinking in a different way. It's all part of a very large agenda. So that is subversion, that is misdirection, that is PSYOPs. That's what's actually being done right now. So I would actually encourage everyone to really find what their truth is as they go to the polls, because their vote will count. That's if the machines aren't rigged, as another PSYOP, to give you a little bit of doubt within the actual system. And again, that works both ways, considering whose agenda you want to understand. But the fact of the matter is that the will of the people is very, very powerful. And when the people come together as one voice, people will listen. And I think that everyone needs to look in their heart, devoid of the agenda, devoid of the false narratives that are actually being given to you by the media, and find out what is best for you and your children, and vote according to that, because you will get the government that you deserve. And sometimes, it's the best government that can be bought. So you need to make a real decision in regards to how your country is going to be governed for the next 4 years. This is a generational move. And I feel that what is happening now, there's never been so much interest in an election before. And I feel people know that this is a very pivotal part of the future of America and the future of the union. Will America stay together as a union? That's up for grabs at the moment, I think. And I feel that the true story is actually going to be happening within 3 months of the election. That's when you're going to find out what the true will of the people is. And I feel that at that stage we'll see whether the PSYOPs have won, or whether we find that the truth has come through and people are responding to the truth and not the false narratives. So that's my thoughts on it. I'm Simon Trezelyan. Join me on YouTube. I sometimes have a fairly informed opinion, having been in the industry that I was for many, many years. So thank you, good luck, and God bless for your family for the future. Bye-bye now.